I thought I was building a life with her, turns out I was just a phase. I used to think the scariest thing in a relationship was being cheated on. I was wrong. The scariest thing is realizing that while you were planning a future, the other person was only killing time. That realization hit me on a random Tuesday night, in our kitchen, with the sound of boiling water in the background and her phone buzzing on the counter like it had something urgent to say. I wish I hadn't looked. But if I'm being honest, some part of me already knew. I met Emily when I wasn't looking for anything serious. I had just moved cities, started a new job, and was focused on rebuilding my life after a messy breakup that left me emotionally cautious. She worked in the same building as me, different department. We kept seeing each other in the elevator, exchanging those polite half-smiles strangers give when they recognize each other but don't know what to say. One day, the elevator got stuck. Just for a few minutes. Nothing dramatic. But long enough to talk. She laughed it off. I complained about Mondays. She told me her name. I told her mine. When the doors finally opened, she said, "Well, I guess this is where we pretend we won't see each other again." I said, "Or we could get coffee." She smiled. Or that. That was it. That was the beginning. Emily was easy to be around. She didn't overwhelm me. She didn't rush things. She felt safe. We talked about childhood memories, stupid work stories, dreams we weren't sure we believed in anymore. She told me she wanted stability. A real relationship. No games. "I'm tired of temporary people," she said once, stirring her coffee. That sentence stayed with me. So I became permanent. We started dating seriously within a few months. She met my friends. I met her sister. We spent weekends together, cooked dinners, argued about what to watch on Netflix like a married couple pretending not to be married. For the first time in a long time, I felt grounded. Loved. Chosen. When people asked me how things were going, I said, honestly, really good. And I meant it. About a year in, she suggested we move in together. Her idea. "I practically live at your place anyway," she said. "Let's stop pretending." I remember feeling proud. Like I was doing something right. Like this was proof I wasn't wasting my time. We found a small apartment. Nothing fancy, but it felt like home quickly. Her clothes mixed with mine. Toothbrushes side by side. Shared grocery lists. Real life. That's when the small changes started. Nothing obvious. Nothing dramatic. Just shifts. She started keeping her phone face down. She took longer to reply. She'd say she was tired more often. When I asked if something was wrong, she always smiled and said, "I'm just stressed. Work stuff." I believed her. I wanted to believe her. The first real crack came during a conversation I'll never forget. We were lying in bed, lights off, just talking. "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" she asked. "With you," I answered without thinking. "Hopefully married. Maybe a kid. A dog, at least." She went quiet. Too quiet. "That's a lot of pressure," she finally said. My chest tightened. "It's just an idea. I'm not proposing in my sleep." She laughed nervously. "I know. I just don't want to feel trapped." That word stuck with me. Trapped. I started paying attention after that. I noticed she talked more about needing space. About wanting to find herself. About not being sure what she wanted long-term. Meanwhile, I was sure. And that imbalance slowly started eating at me. But I didn't push. I didn't demand answers. I thought love meant patience. I thought if I just gave her time, she'd meet me where I was. Then came the night everything changed. It was late. I was cooking pasta. She was sitting at the counter scrolling on her phone. Her phone buzzed again. And again. She didn't pick it up immediately. The screen lit up. A name I didn't recognize. And a message preview that made my stomach drop. I can't stop thinking about last night. I froze. She noticed my face. What? She asked. Who's that? I said, pointing at her phone. She grabbed it quickly. Too quickly. Just a friend. My heart started racing. A friend you can't stop thinking about. She rolled her eyes. You're overreacting. That sentence hurt more than the message. I didn't push that night. I didn't want to fight. I went to bed with a knot in my chest, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathing next to me. I barely slept. The next day, I tried to act normal. But the doubt was loud now. It followed me everywhere. A few days later, she left her laptop open when she went to shower. I told myself not to look. I told myself trust mattered. I looked anyway. I found messages. Not explicit. Not sexual. Worse. Emotional. Long conversations about feelings, doubts, dreams. About how she felt misunderstood in her relationship. About how she felt more like herself when she talked to him. About me. He's a good guy, she wrote. I just don't know if he's my forever. I felt sick. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She sat on the couch, hands shaking. I didn't plan this, she said. It just happened. That phrase again. I asked if she loved him. She said, I don't know. I asked if she loved me. She hesitated. That hesitation destroyed something inside me. We decided to work on things. Therapy. Long talks. Promises. She cut contact with him. Or so she said. I wanted to save us. I thought love meant fighting. What I didn't realize was that I was fighting alone. For a while, things improved. She was more present. More affectionate. I relaxed. I thought we survived it. Then one night, months later, she said something that changed everything. I sometimes wonder what my life would have been like if I made different choices. I looked at her. Like what? She swallowed. Like if I hadn't moved in with you so fast. That's when I knew. I was a chapter. Not the story. The final blow came unexpectedly. I ran into her old friend at a cafe. Someone she hadn't talked about much. We made small talk. Then she said, so, are you guys still together? Yes, I said, confused. She frowned. Oh. I thought, never mind. My heart dropped. Thought what? She hesitated. Emily told me months ago she was planning to leave. She said she just needed time to figure out how. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. Months. All that effort. All that hope. A lie. That night, I confronted her one last time. She didn't deny it. I didn't want to hurt you, she said softly. So you lied? I asked. She cried. I didn't know how to leave. I looked at her and felt empty. No anger. No tears. Just clarity. I packed my things that night. She watched silently. At the door, she said, I never meant to waste your time. I turned back and said, you didn't waste my time. You taught me something. She asked what? That love without honesty isn't love. It's just comfort. It took me a long time to heal. I questioned myself. My judgment. My worth. But eventually, I understood something important. She didn't choose someone else over me. She chose herself. And she was too afraid to let me do the same. Now, when I think about that relationship, I don't feel hate. I feel sadness. For the version of me who believed commitment alone was enough. And for the version of her who was too scared to be honest. Final reflection. Sometimes, the most painful breakups aren't about betrayal or cheating. They're about realizing you were never the destination. You were just a safe place to stop. Until they were ready to move on. I fell in love with her story, not knowing it was a lie. I didn't find out she was lying because I was suspicious. I found out because I was in love. That's the part that still hurts the most. When you love someone, you start caring about the details. You remember dates, stories, names. And one day, you realize those details don't line up anymore. By the time I understood why, it was already too late. I met Laura online. Not on a dating app, but in a random comment section under a post about moving on after loss. She replied to something I wrote. I replied back. We ended up talking for hours that night. She was thoughtful. Calm. Honest in a way that felt rare. I'm not very good at meeting people in real life, she told me. Talking like this feels safer. I understood that. So we kept talking. Our conversations became part of my routine. Morning messages. Long voice notes at night. Sharing music, memories, fears. She told me she had lost someone important a few years ago. My fiancé, she said. I remember pausing, not sure what to say. I don't talk about him much, she added quickly. But it shaped who I am. That explained her gentleness. Her sadness. The way she talked about love like it was something fragile. I respected that story. I built my feelings around it. We met in person after 3 months. She was real. Not just real, familiar. Like I already knew her. She smiled nervously when she saw me. You're taller than I imagined, she said. You're exactly how I imagined, I replied. And I meant it. Our relationship grew slowly, carefully. She didn't rush intimacy. She didn't like talking about the future too much. I've learned not to promise things I can't guarantee, she said once. At the time, I thought it was wisdom. Being with Laura felt deep. Emotional. Different from anything I'd had before. She listened. She remembered small things. She made me feel seen. But there were rules. She never posted photos of us. She avoided certain places in the city. She didn't introduce me to many people. I'm private, she said. I've had enough eyes on my life. I believed her. Love makes you flexible like that. After a year, I asked about moving in together. She froze. I'm not ready, she said. Please don't pressure me. I backed off immediately. I didn't want to be the guy who pushed. But something inside me felt off. The first real doubt came from something small. She told me the anniversary of her fiancé's death was in April. Months later, she mentioned it again. But this time, she said March. I didn't say anything. But my brain noticed. Then I noticed more. Details about her past changing slightly. Stories told differently. Timelines that didn't quite match. Nothing dramatic enough to accuse her of lying. Just enough to feel uneasy. I hated that feeling. The truth came out accidentally. A coworker of mine recognized her name when I mentioned it. Oh, Laura, he said. She used to work at my old company. I smiled. Yeah, that's her. She was married, right? My smile faded. What? Yeah, he said casually. She and her husband moved abroad together. I think they're still together. My stomach dropped. I confronted her that night. She didn't get angry. She went silent. Then she started crying. Not soft crying. Panicked crying. I didn't know how to tell you, she said. Tell me what? That her fiancé never died. That he was very much alive. That she never lost him. She left him. She told me everything. She had created that story because it was easier than admitting she walked away from a marriage. Easier than admitting she was afraid of commitment, afraid of judgment, afraid of herself. I didn't think I'd fall in love, she whispered. I didn't think it would matter. I felt numb. So I loved a character? I asked. She shook her head. You loved me. Just, a version of me. That didn't help. I asked why she didn't tell me once we got serious. She said, I was scared you'd leave. I laughed bitterly. And now? She looked at me. I think you will. She was right. Breaking up wasn't explosive. It was quiet. Painful. Final. I didn't scream. I didn't insult her. I just couldn't stay with someone who built our love on a lie. For months after, I questioned everything. Did she ever really love me? Was any of it real? Eventually, I realized something uncomfortable. She did love me. She just didn't love me enough to tell me the truth. Now, when I think about her, I don't hate her. I understand her fear. But understanding doesn't undo damage. Final reflection. Love can survive mistakes, distance, even heartbreak. But it cannot survive a foundation that was never real. Because when you fall in love with a lie, the truth doesn't just hurt. It erases everything.